Hello, Gary Crowley here with do-it-yourself-joint-pain-relief.com, and in this segment I just want to show you how to do a little tennis ball tune-up, I've termed it, to get at any of this stuff, especially in your hip area, that maybe the stretches and some of the things that you did in steps 1, 2, and 3 for your main approach to joint pain relief. If some of those things just need a little extra attention, sometimes you can get at it with a tennis ball. So I'm mainly going to focus on your hip area, and again, this is intended as a supplement to the main page, whatever joint pain relief you're looking for. So mainly what I want to focus on is, number one, if you're trying to release your IT band, as I mentioned in the video there, but some people seem to forget, is at the top of your IT band is this muscle called your tensor fasciae latae. It's a little muscle, but it's an important muscle in terms of maintaining the positioning of your hip bones. So right here, you want to just make sure that's not tender and tight, because tender means tight, and if you find a nice tender spot and then you do a nice press hold move on it, the press hold move technique, then it will release, and then things can sit back where they want to be. And this is my favorite way to get at this tensor fasciae latae. I prefer to be kind of on the edge of a table. I prefer to, or a carpeted floor, and I like to have a little cushion here to have a little give for the ball, but a tennis ball seems to work pretty well for me. Some of you bigger folks might need more kind of baseball-y kind of things, and some of you, I don't know, sometimes a lacrosse ball works well depending on your body type and the thing you're laying on. So that's the first part of the tennis ball tune-up. And now I just want to point out, for those hip stretches I have a lot of people do, the reclining hip stretch and the seated hip stretch, the one thing they tend to not get real well is the very upper glutes. So these glutes that are between your tailbone and your hip bone, way up top here. So again, similar to what we just did, you want to kind of find a surface where you can comfortably lay back and put that basically between your hip bone and kind of that upper, heading toward the top of your, between your tailbone and the top of your hip bone. And like in me, this is pretty tight, and I do those hip stretches, but this, just from modern living, for me anyway, gets pretty tight, and then I do the press hold move. Now I'm right up basically at the top of my tailbone, just to the outside of that, and for a guy who does those hip stretches, you know, this is tight, because they tend to get that lower part a lot better. So there it goes. Just do that a little bit, and then you scoot around, find another tender spot. Depending on how much weight you want on it, you can come up on it, you can come back on it, put all your weight on it. Now that's a little much for me, because basically you want as much pressure as you can relax into. That kind of maximizes the communication to your cerebellum and the top of your brainstem. And as you put just enough pressure that you can relax into, it seems to let go at the fastest rate possible. So basically you want to follow this all the way down the edge of your tailbone, even out to here. Those stretches tend to get out here pretty well, so they're tend to be too tight. But then very at the way bottom here, basically where your sits bone is, that bone that you would hit if you were on a nice hard chair, that bone you would sit on. So between your sits bone and your tailbone, there's some deep muscles, and on the section on testicle pain relief, this is what I have people release, because tension down here actually sometimes grabs those nerves. But it's also just good for the average person to make sure these are free, especially if you have back or hip issues, because when that bottom of your tailbone gets torqued, it throws everything off. So this is actually a very good spot to just keep free, just for a general back, hip, nerve pathway well-being. So I just wanted to show you that. I wanted you to feel free, basically, to take a tennis ball or whatever other ball works for you, and just investigate this whole area, finding any tender spots that the stretches that I recommend didn't get, or any of the press hold move or press pull release techniques that I'm offering up to you. If they just kind of didn't get everything, then the magic of a tennis ball is there for you. And feel free, again, tender tissue means tight tissue means it's inappropriately yanking or pulling on a joint, and so ideally you want strong flexible tissue, not strong tight tissue. So that is what we're doing here. So that is a tennis ball tune-up on your hips, and I hope that helps. I look forward to hearing how it goes. Thanks.